junkies, welcome back to Twin Flicks, where we're always here celebrating magic movies and physical media with you. So today's movie that we're going to talk about is Sudden Death, which first arrived on Blu-ray from Universal Pictures, I believe in 2013. Well, now in 2024, Kino Lorber has released Sudden Death with a new, fresh scan from a 4K restoration from the original 35mm negative with HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading and the appropriate theatrical ratio of 2:3:9 when the previous Blu-ray was 2:3:5 and the restoration work was handled by Universal Pictures. Alright guys, so let's dive in and take a closer look at Kino Lorber's 4K UHD presentation of Sudden Death and compare it to the previous release Blu-ray and see if this 4K is worth the upgrade. Now, before we dive into the color reproduction, I just have to point out the sheer quality of this 4K scan, especially with the clarity and sharpness. And this right here is a perfect example of what I mean by sharpness and clarity. Look on the Blu-ray, the building at the bottom right, the wording, the lettering on the building is completely blown out, making it blurry, while on the 4K, the green lettering on the building is very sharp and clear where you can actually make out clearly what the building signing says. Sudden Death on 4K UHD is an absolute showstopper, especially when comparing it to the previous 2013 Blu-ray from Universal that just honestly pales in comparison. There are some fantastic upticks, making this one an immediate demo-worthy disc. The color reproduction is just top-notch, and this also goes for the included remastered Blu-ray that's with this 4K. But on the UHD disc with the HDR10 or Dolby Vision grading, it really opens up the color gamut much wider here, carrying just outstanding uses of varied colors, enhancing what's already there based on the color design from the filmmakers. Primaries are active and healthy with an excellent amount of depth and more detail within the color ranges as well. For examples, reds are deeper and more vibrant, and we have more lifelike deep crimson blood reds. Blues also look more natural and cooler, and yellows are very active and bright. The explosions really ignite the screen and is a huge plus with this 4K, especially when comparing it to the previous release Blu-ray. I mean, you can obviously see the differences here. It's just outstanding. Skin tones are also warm and healthy here, while on the Blu-ray, skin tones tend to lean more on the palish side. And saturation levels are elevated just right, giving the right amount to have the image, giving the image a little bit more extra punch and life, while looking balanced and not artificially boosted or too hot. And contrast is dialed in that really helps with daylight scenes looking more naturally brightly lit, but also comes into play with darker night scenes that looks more appropriate to the scene. Highlights are also handled much better here on the 4K that aren't as hot, but more evenly balanced out. And white levels are bright and crisp but white. The entire color design of Sudden Death on 4K just looks overall more attractive and more appropriate that really pops off the screen, where again the Blu-ray just pales in comparison. The black levels here are also a very nice reference point, and this goes for the included remastered Blu-ray as well. The 2013 Universal Blu-ray clearly suffered in this arena with a lot of crushing out of details, or even some very slightly grayish bright blacks in certain areas I noticed. The black levels on the Blu-ray just wasn't very consistent, along with fairly weak shadow details. The 4K scan now carries these deeper, inky, truer black levels that we all love to see. And the UHD disc with the HDR and Dolby Vision grading applied really enhances the black levels even more so, giving the image much more needed depth and drawing out more information, allowing us to make out even finer details and even some very slight splashes of color within the most murkiest, darkest corners of the frame. Now, the Universal Blu-ray from 2013 also had a really flat, lifeless looking image. And I also noticed some areas where details look slightly blurry here and there. Now the image quality is just spectacular here on this 4K, with the higher 2160p resolution on the UHD disc, giving more finer lines in the image that drastically helps giving a very impressive level of detail and crispness. The image has also been cleaned up, scanned in 4K from the original camera negative, ridding of any unwanted anomalies, while leaving any inherited baked-in anomalies intact from the original negative. giving us a really filmic appearance. Facial textures and skin textures with those tight close-ups looks excellent and sharp, revealing not just blemishes, wrinkles, but also faces and skin soaked in beads of sweat and all the caked on, dried on blood and dirt and soot. All the finer details all the way around from start to finish stays clear and sharp from any direction the camera is pointed at. The background stays very active and clear. And a huge plus with this 4K is there is much more depth and three-dimensionality and also spaciousness within the image, giving us a really lifelike theatrical appearance, showcasing the cinematography and the production design, filling the 239:1 frame in full. The bitrate starts out in the mid-80s and tops out an impressive low 100 Mbps on a 100 gigabyte disc. And the grain field is fully intact here that looks tighter and better resolved than what the Blu-ray offered, giving us that really nice, natural 35mm filmic appearance. Alright guys, so my score for Kino Lorber's 4K UHD presentation of Sudden Death, I'm giving this one an all-around 5 out of 5 for video and audio. This is another 4K banger release from Kino Lorber. They keep putting out the goods. Alright guys, but I want to hear your opinion here. When you take a look at the differences between the two formats, the 2013 Blu-ray and this new 4K UHD, which do you like better? Head over to the comment section and let me know. Well guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes here as we talk about Kino Lorber's release of Sudden Death on 4K UHD. Let's get that Blu-ray out of here. As always, keep physical media alive, and we'll see you next time with another 4K versus Blu-ray comparison.